Your mother would have spent almost 2 hours after work, after dinner, putting the rollers in her hair so tomorrow when she gets up, her hair looks good. Ties it down and is about to go to sleep. That dry cough starts. Enough of that dry cough. Here we come. Sardine pan. You would have saved this from some time back. Maybe you had a snack or something. Sardines and biscuits. But you saved the can. Here you go. You turn the stove on. Nice and hot. Concoction we call it. So you pour a bit of your castor oil. A bit of the olive oil. A bit of the coconut oil. A bit of clove oil. Peppermint oil. Some Vicks. Just put it on the side of the pan. But you don't use, you rub on your own neck. Menthol crystals. Then you have some camphor oil. Starting to boil. Candle grease. Take a piece. You drop it in there. You can see it starting to come together. You let it get really nice and hot. You're having everything. Your house is starting to smell like a dispensary now. You turn it off. This is almost boiling. Now if it's a kid, you have a little feather and you will take this liquid and you put it around the ears, on the chest, on the back, and wrap them in some type of material. If it's an older kid, you just dab your hand in, you rub it behind the neck, the ear, on the chest, on the back, put them in a vest or something, wrap them really tight, and by tomorrow they are good to go. Now that I've told you about the concoction and the rub down, let me show you some of the other items that were like staples in our house. No doctor, just my grandmother, my mom, or my aunt using what was at home to make us feel better. Alcolado, my personal favorite, always at home here. Used mainly for headaches, or sometimes in the winter here, if your skin gets itchy and dry, you just dab the Alcolado and you are good to go. Another bottle of Alcolado. Keep them in good supply here. Then there's Limacol. I would say that when I was growing up, the older people tend to favor Limacol. There was a commercial that we really love. It said, Limacol, the freshness of the breeze in a bottle. I thought that commercial really captured the smell of Limacol. You don't see it too much these days. Then we have the beer rum. I don't suggest you drink it, but it's also good for headaches. Again, can be used as an astringent. Witch hazel, it's good for bites, mosquito bites. Again, a great astringent. You wash your face and you dab the witch hazel on it. And then there was the candle grease. Again, this was another staple in the house. If you had a sore throat, you took it off, rub it around your throat. Sometimes you just warmed it, Or there's a string in here. If you had a cracked toe, it was always usually the small toe. You just took the string and tied it around the toe, and in a few days it was like nothing had ever happened. Who can forget good old Canadian healing oil? You had a dry cough, you would take a lump of sugar, you'd put the sugar in your hand, throw the Canadian healing oil, bring it together like a little lump, put it in your mouth, and that dry cough would disappear. For all compound. This was good if you always had a cough or a cold. This was meant to build up your constitution. My mom would send tons and tons of this to Canada when my son was young. I don't know if it built up his constitution. I'd have to ask him. Then we have the Iodex. If you got a cut or something was swollen, you took a bit of the Iodex, applied it to the swollen area. Then there's mercurochrome. Anytime you got a cut, your grandparents would run for this and dab it on that cut. Always left it looking red, but that was also a staple in the house because, you know, you're from the country, you're running up and down, always cuts and bruises. Then, who can ever forget this? Up your nostril, you had a cold, you merely saw the men walking around with this up their nose, you take a whiff and put it back down, good to go. Alright, then I have some snuff here. Snuff, S-N-U-F-F. It's always the older women who walked around with that snuff. They would keep it in a pan, a can, a tin, whatever it was. They'd cap it on the top, open, and you'd see the brown snuff, always a finger. They'd dab it in, push it up the nose, touch it up the nose, and then a big sneeze. Some of them had probably gotten so accustomed they would not sneeze. I guess it's a drug. They were addicted, but we didn't know that at the time. Then the good old smelling salts. Have you ever knocked yourself out on the smelling salt? It was always locked away, always somewhere out of sight, but the Pandora in us would always get the better of us. You'd go, take that smelling salts out, and you'd just jam it up your nose, and then bam, you'd be on the floor. It was like an instant knockout or an instant headache. So we never noticed that they just took a whiff. We would take it from wherever it was hidden and just jam it up your nose, and then the next thing somebody would be on the floor. This was also very good if somebody fainted or was feeling sick. The old people would grab it and kind of pass it around their nose, and just like Lazarus, they would be up and going again. So that's the smelling salts. Okay, then I cannot forget cod liver oil. It used to be in a yellow box, but I guess this is the new version, cod liver oil. There were so many oils we had to take. Cod liver oil, castor oil, charcoal. Charcoal was the worst smelling thing on the planet, but it was supposed to be good for us, so we had to take it. I believe there was a set time for us to take that castor oil. It was like one Sunday every month or something, and we all had to line up, take that castor oil with a sliver of lemon or orange, and away you went. So I invite you to tell me some of your remedies that you would have used growing up. Go right back, dig them up, and put them on your comments. I have a whole slew of them that I haven't been able to mention here. So you tell me some of your remedies. I look forward to reading them and hearing them. And let me do my disclaimer. I'm not a doctor, maybe a Dr. Booby, but not a doctor. So don't substitute these remedies for seeing your doctor. If I don't see you before 2017, have a healthy and prosperous 2017. Look forward to seeing you up the gap.